All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the James and Joe Show. This is volume number 3 here with the one and only Kerry Daigle. We're talking through some of Kerry's quotes and pieces of wisdom that he's picked up and dispensed to the world throughout his career.
Hashtag Daigleism.
Hashtag Daigleism.
Spell that for me. For me, everyone that's listening in, this is something that Joe and James came up with.
That's right. So we got pound, hashtag DAIGLEISM, Daigleism. That's right.
I love it.
Start a Twitter handle that's just spits out Daigleisms all day. But
Truth.
Truth. That's right. Daigle truth. One of the Daigle truths is, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. And I love that one because I am an 11-year educator. I taught middle school for 11 years before Joe and I went and started this crazy company called Edge Theory. And so I, as many of you all know, if you know my face or voice from a lot of training materials around social media that you have been given, I would love to hear Kerry's thoughts because we have done a training series for Team Keep Punching. But just thinking through that quote, Kerry, what are your thoughts on, of course, social media education is a nice piece and it's a nice thing that we've been working with your team on. But the larger piece of this is, of course, educating yourself about being healthy, how it can impact other people, and then aspects of your business as well. How have you all educated yourselves through the years and passed that on to your team?
Well, that's a good question. I'll tell you what, I can relate to you, James. You have 11 years of education. My education has been 12 years of high school, so I have one more year than you, I think. So not it that way. But what's really important is that I admire where you are because you're constantly striving. Now that you've finished your formal education, you're now in a self-education mode to where you're developing yourself to be another person and to grow to be very entrepreneurial, which is what you're doing now. The things that you're coming up with, the things that you're doing, James, are going to lead you to places that you've never, ever been able to experience before in your entire life. And it's because, this is my opinion, remember, opinions are like noses. Everybody has one and they're all different. The thing with you right now, James, is that you are now rubbing shoulders with a guy named Joe Stradinger, who has been rubbing shoulders with a guy like Jim Barksdale. And if you look at Jim Barksdale, who's a multi-billionaire, do you think that you're going to have much more to look forward to through with this self-education? You see, a formal education will get you a good job, okay? A self-education will make you wealthy. So I think everyone needs to spend anywhere from 3% to 5% of their monthly income every month on themselves to become self-educated, whether it's in nutrition, whether it's in, I think, mostly in business and personal development and attitude. And that's really important to understand. What comes with self-education is change, okay? A person that doesn't read books, at all, let's take a look at you, 11 years as an educator. If you quit reading books right now, you quit becoming self-educated, James, you have just put yourself in the same category as an illiterate person that cannot read. So if you stop reading because you figure your education, you've got enough, you're not going to grow, you're not going anywhere, and you put yourself in that same place as the illiterate person. So what happens now, change is difficult, but change is what makes you successful. One of my mentors is a guy named George Foreman, and most of you may know him from the George Foreman Grill. And also the guy to become the oldest man to become the heavyweight champion of the world at the age of 45. That was his second time. The first time, as a big bully, George Foreman went out and knocked out Joe Frazier and became heavyweight champion of the world. Later, in October of 1974, in Kinshasa, Zaire, Africa, lost his title to Muhammad Ali and went into a depression and quit fighting for about 10 years. And he came back old, fat, everybody making fun of him. Too old, too fat, too slow. Everyone made fun of him. But he came back and he said, I will win the heavyweight championship of the world again. And he continued to move forward. At the age of 45, he knocked out the young Michael Mora, who had just beat Evander Holyfield for the heavyweight championship of the world, knocked him out. Not a decision, knocked him out with a right hand. And the oldest man to win the championship. He had that vision. But he was always self-educating himself. He was always studying. He was always reading. He was always doing things necessary to move forward. And he wrote a book, which is a great book. It's called Knockout Entrepreneur. I carry it with me everywhere I go, James and Joe, everywhere I go. And I want to read something that George wrote on page 151 in the chapter, The Toughest Step to Success. And a lot of you looking at this would think maybe this is a boxing book. No, it's a book about life. It's a book about a guy that said he could never make it in that second go-round. And yet you know about the grill. Do I have to tell you how many millions of dollars he made with the grill? Millions. And the story's all here. And here's what he says in this chapter. Our resistance to change usually involves fear of the unknown coupled with a desire to maintain the status quo. Many people are more comfortable with what they already know and would rather remain where they are than risk stepping out into the unknown. That is a normal reaction, but successful people regularly overcome this resistance. They realize that most fears about change are groundless, or maybe they have decided that the fear of the unknown is far less than the torture and tedium of spending the rest of their lives tied to a job, career, relationship, or lifestyle that they find unrewarding, demeaning, boring, and insignificant. In that case, change, as disconcerting as it may be, is the far better alternative. Pretty powerful words.
Powerful.
Now,
one little thing I remember, Kerry, that I can say when he's in Kerry's being real humble, showing this
a
book.
picture of him with my wife, by the way. So
oh, cool.
He liked me a lot more than he liked me.
And I was with Kerry, gosh, a month or two ago. We were meeting, having lunch, having some work session time going on, and he picks up his iPhone and he had earlier wished Mr. George happy birthday, and he had texted him back, and they were having a text exchange. It's pretty cool. So it's been a great mentor of his, and I'd love to meet the guy one day myself. So.
Yeah, he sent me a real nice message about my birthday too, which I thought was pretty cool. So, I mean, this is a guy that's a brilliant guy. And this book will absolutely, I think anyone that even has the slightest hint of wanting to be an entrepreneur needs to read it. And I believe that the two of you, I guarantee you, we're going to do a show. I may interview the two of you on the Knockout Entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
That'd be great.
Well, off to the next show, we're going to have, again, hashtag Daigleism.
That's right. Share your Daigleism from the conferences, from the boot camps, from the sessions that you've heard.
Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And then coming up on conference, there'll be Daigleisms everywhere.
Yeah. So. Let's drown out the typical.
Before we shut down, too, real quick.
Yeah.
One thing that your company, I cannot believe that you have offered us this program to help us communicate with people and teach us what to say for pennies on the dollar. I don't even know what it costs right now. And I just told my wife, hook me up and hook yourself up and let's get this baby going and get a bunch of people hooked up because this is incredible stuff. And I think, what is it a month?
$15.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you think about it, I want everyone that's listening in, if you've even thought about education, this is an educational program in a sense, because it's going to educate you as what to say. And I'm not, look, these people pay me no commission. Bill doesn't pay me a commission. James doesn't pay me a commission. They haven't even, well, I'll take it back. They bought me a salad in Jackson, Mississippi. Okay, but I'm not doing this for the salad. You know, so bottom line is, pay attention to what's here. If you're an entrepreneur, don't let $15 stop you from making $1 million. I have an old philosophy. Don't be tripping over dollar bills to pick up pennies. That's what a lot of people do each and every day. Don't be that frugal. Thanks for having me. Keep punching.
Keep punching. Thanks,
And
Kerry.
I think one thing there, I just follow that one thing that Kerry, when we first started working together closely, gosh, been 2 years ago, in Sacramento when I spoke and I got off the stage, but really, I knew that this stuff is important. I've always believed that content, you got to have content to have a conversation. But what really hit me was when getting off the stage, literally everybody from the millennial superstar social media person all the way to the grandmother all said, gosh, what do I say? How do I say it? How do I use this platform? What do I say? And I'm worried about saying the wrong thing. And I think you always talk about, education. A big part of education is understanding and knowing what you can say, that compliant and compliant content is, I think, a big part of the future of any company. We work with lots of big brands outside of Juice Plus, and the biggest single factor out there is everybody wants their people to talk because that is the brand, right? Is everyone else talking? Not, but gosh, help them, because if they say the wrong thing, there's exposure. So I think education.
That's something that I picked up in one of your TED Talks that I've carried with me, and I saw it this weekend when you gave your presentation. And in that TED Talk, you said your conversation is either an asset or a liability. That's very powerful.
One or the other.
That's it. I don't think we need anything else more to say. Good close. It's either an asset or a liability.
That's right.
Thank
That's right. All right, James. Off to the next one. Thanks,
That's right.
Kerry. Thank you.
Keep punching.
Keep punching.